aufzunehmen. Also heute wirklich, egal ob ich schreibe oder ich spreche, egal was ich mache, irgendwie egal. Okay, gut, ja. Und dann sind wir auch schon wieder da. Dann erstmal einen schönen Gruß an alle, die wieder teilnehmen. Wie ihr sehen werdet, zweiter Versuch. Hello everybody. I just discussed with Miramele that we're going to do this interview in English. The first thing I do is, of course, speak in German, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, yes, welcome back, everybody. As you can see, I've got another interview partner who, a bit spontaneously, and I'm very grateful for that, agreed to do this interview. But because of that, she has decided not to regale us in all her splendor. She's keeping some of that for the Drachenfest. So
this is lunch break. So
yes. So just bear with us. I hope that the discussion that we're going to have today is going to prove to be interesting again. But we shall see. I mean, anyone who knows you, Ute, will say, in all likelihood, this will be a very boring discussion group, you know, very dry, very factual thing. Yes. Okay. Well, why don't we just start sort of with the usual questions? Just introduce yourself a little bit to the people who may not know you. Who are you? Where do you come from? All that good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Ute. I've been around Blue Camp since I think 2010. I've been wondering in the aftermath of that interview when it actually was, but I think it was 2010. Always in Blue Camp. In real life, I'm now living in Munich. That's not where I'm actually from, but this is where I kind of ended up and will probably stay. And OT, I am a full-time nerd, so to speak, which means that I build satellites. So I'm a physicist by training, and I found myself a really nerdy job in trying to build stuff that is shot into space. Apart from that, well, I've been LARPing a lot less during the last 4 years now because I got myself 2 mini-me's, which keep me busy on top of things. But I'm pretty confident that this year Drachenfest will work, and I'm also confident that probably next year or the year after I can start getting into the flow a little better again as kids grow and as things get a little easier. By the way, there's a dragon made by my son in the background. This is the best background I could find for this interview.
Yeah, I mean, that's very good. And, I mean, of course, we've all been very unhappy with the fact that we haven't been able to LARP properly for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But for you, from that point of view, it was an advantage. You could let the minions grow up a little bit so that... just... Yeah.
Yeah, last year probably wouldn't have worked out, but the week before I was actually looking forward to being able to play my pregnant replacement character again, which was actually quite fun, and which I had in the first year where I was there pregnant. But probably I can't resist coming back with Miramele, unfortunately. So.
Yes, I'm gonna come to that in a moment because the way you play your characters is just an interesting thing which I just want to... But before that, you've already sort of alluded since when you've been in the Blue Camp, but why don't you just explain to people maybe a little bit, how did you actually get started with LARP, and how did your path lead you to the Blue Camp?
The answer to both questions is Panama, more or less.
Okay, good.
So, the Blue Archivist that many of you probably know. We've been to school together, actually, not in the same year, not in the same class, but we knew each other from choir practice and a very memorable exchange trip to Moscow, actually, where we got to know each other. Okay. And by then, I got first into pen and paper, and then I had my first foray into LARP, which ended up pretty much as a disaster and me quitting the whole thing altogether. But then 3 or 4 years after, they kind of they had been to Blue Camp a year or two longer than I had, and then they asked me if I wanted to come as well. and I kind of gave it a shot and stayed.
And we're very grateful for that. Yeah. You just mentioned your pregnant character. What was her name again?
That was Elizabeth Carter. She was basically my replacement because it would have taken way too much plot and development to have Miramele be pregnant. So that was Elizabeth Carter.
Yeah, plus just, the way you play Miramele, just running and running and running, being everywhere at the same time, and seemingly, because always when I saw you doing stuff, you seemed to be sitting somewhere, engrossed in a conversation that looked like, well, that's hour 6 that they're discussing that. Or, it keeps going and going. And yet everybody tells me, oh yeah, she's everywhere, and I keep seeing you at different places. So how is it possible to be someone who is everywhere at the same time and speaks for hours with the people about stuff? How do you do that?
People would say I'm nowhere, especially when you need me. This is at least what people always tell me. But actually, one of the points about Miramele, and this is what I'm really trying to emphasize in the play also, and it seems to be coming across, is that she's super easily distracted. She's always going to the next thing that seems more interesting, unless you manage to capture her attention. Yeah, and then she stays. So I usually try, when I hear something, even if I'm in the middle of things, I just go up and leave. I mean,
okay.
Sometimes I think about apologizing to the humans, but sometimes I'm just not thinking about it and just going. Yeah, so a lot of it is just walking around and making things happen and just seeing what happens. And when you feel compelled to sit down, just not do it. And just ignoring what your body says about rest and stuff.
Yeah, your
see
feet.
How that works this year.
Yeah, when the feet are sort of saying, like, come on, give us a bit of a break, and you say, come on, just a few more kilometers, and then I won't feel them at all, and then it's fine.
It also helps that I'm a bit OT that way. I mean, I work full time, I have 2 kids, go figure, yeah, so I am OT, a person that likes to keep busy, so that kind of slips into the play as well, I guess. So I'm not so much one for sitting in camp all day and basically having people come to me, or this sort of camp play. It's not that I think it's not good, it's just I don't enjoy it very much. I just like more to be up and about and to grasp up a bit of the story here and there and jump in here and then go out again. This is also what I personally like. And as I do as I'm trying for characters, usually when I LARP, when I can choose them myself, is to emphasize a bit of what I am and to try to suppress other things. So then for Miramele, I'm just emphasizing that natural tendency that I'm having. And then, to be honest, I don't plan it, it just happens. Yeah, I just go out the door thinking I'll be back, but this is probably Drachenfest. This is how it happens to everybody. I go out of the door and then I just jump on whatever I see, be it people I meet, but things I see, I don't know, and then just it's in the evening and I haven't been home, basically.
Yeah, I think it's every player, of course, has their own style of gaming. Some like us, with me, my crew once told me I left the camp early in the morning saying, I'm just going over there and then I'm coming to have breakfast. And then we'll do that. And apparently I didn't come back until late in the evening. I'm just going over there. And then just things happened, as it were. A lot of things happened, yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. And I mean, of course, I try to focus on the more mystical, magical, lore kind of thingies, because that is just Miramele's thing. But especially at Drachenfest, there is just so much going on. That you leave the camp in chase of a story that you heard by somebody who told it to you, who got it from somebody else, who heard the rumor that, and then you try to get to the source of it, and by the end of the day, you've discovered 20 other stories, none of them coherent, and the day's over. So
yeah, but as I was sort of saying, everybody has their own gaming style, and some people, they will prefer to sit in the camp and sort of take care of the people there, or just maybe do music, just maybe go and fight on a regular basis. But for you, when you're running around wildly like that, how do you manage to keep yourself fed and watered?
Here goes a big thank you to the Picaros, because I think without them I would already be dead.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel a bit bad about it, because I'm probably not contributing as much as I should or could to that, because I'm up and about so much. But actually, on more than one occasion, when I was passing the Picaro camp, I was attacked by a random bowl of food. So that Sangelina Sodoro just jumped out and held the food into my face, just like, you take this, you eat this now. So basically, they keep me sane. They keep me running, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Like I said, this is I'm very, very grateful for that, and sometimes I feel bad about it. I try to pay in news and information and the like.
Yeah, but I like that image. I'm just you're suddenly attacked by a bowl of food and everything.
That was actually like that one time. I almost fell down, actually.
Okay.
But I mean, because in the years before, when I was not traveling with the Picaros yet, there was one fateful year where I wasn't even with the Picaros and not with my old crew of the Weltenwanderer. That was like a disaster. I don't think I ate anything for 2 days, more or less. So.
Yeah, that's not very responsible. That's the word. I had the German word, but not the English. That's not very responsible of you, Miramele. And
you do realize we're in blue camp, right?
yes, I do realize that. I do also realize that the irony is reflecting on me as well. Because I haven't done that either. I remember one year I came back into my camp. And I was so tired and just so exhausted, I couldn't even feed myself. I just collapsed almost there, and they said, "Come on, here, we've got dinner, eat something." I said, "I can't." So they came with the big pot with the food and just started feeding me, one spoonful after the other, making snarky comments like, "And one for the blue dragon, and one for freedom, and one for Libertania." And I just, I hate you. I hate you all. Sort of like, I will kill you in your sleep. But, no matter what threats I uttered, it didn't. They were just loving it, just feeding me like a little baby. But yeah.
I have two stories about the eating thing. One was that one Saturday where, and that was the year where Gold had what they later called the chain of flags. So they had like 5 or 6 flags there. And there was a couple of there was this sort of funny battle. I think somebody was besieging Gold. I think it was Red, and then an ally of theirs fell into an ally of Gold attacked Red from the back, and then Green came down, which was allied with Gold, and came attacking those guys into the back. And there was a couple of blue stragglers just hoping that something would drop from that battle, including myself. And somehow I had gotten up in the morning without having like any food or anything at all, and then it just went on from that. I went back to my tent, just put down my bow, said, okay, now I'm gonna have a roll or something, and then just heard, yeah, okay, now we're all going for the final battle. And end of the story, I didn't eat or drink anything from basically rising at 9 until after final battle. And I have to say I have a really, really good circulation, so I don't collapse easily. I usually manage, otherwise this wouldn't work. But then in Grey Camp, I just saw my field of vision narrowing, which is something I had never experienced before. And I'm like, oh. And then I was saved by, I think, Lysandra and Tarisha, who were there, and to just, like you said, spoon food and water into me.
Yes.
And another time I was in Copper Camp. I was actually dead, but they wanted to dissect me for studying of foreign races. The things that Copper people do.
Yeah.
And I was just giving the guy hints about what he's discovering and the like, and then he came up to my stomach, saying, "Okay, yeah, so probably I'll find there lots of plants and stuff." And I was thinking about it, saying, "Yeah, well, come to think of it, you're actually finding nothing at all." So he just went and OT gave me some sausages to eat.
I mean, yeah, but that's a thing I love about the Copper Camp. You know, they play the villain
Yes.
part, as it were, really well, but there's just such great players, and and they take care of you if they realize, oh Jesus, this
Exactly.
person's actually in need of something. They will help you immediately. That's really, try finding that in real life, an enemy like that. It's
Yeah. I mean,
difficult to come by.
they are fantastic people by
Mm,
and large. I mean, there's dogs everywhere, but they're fantastic people by and large.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so we've dealt with that a little bit, but as we are at the moment, we're doing this internationally. We're broadcasting all over the world, all over the world that is watching at the moment.
All over Drakenfest world, yes.
Yes, maybe. But for you, because the Blue Camp is a bit of an international camp, what is your experience with the international player community, as it were? Okay.
We have this sort of weird family thing going on with
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Gardinier and Planny Sparkles and crap, she's gonna kill me for that, but I don't remember Aru's Holly, that is it. It's been 3 years since I've been Drakenfest, so we've had this sort of weird surrogate family thing going on. And I mean, with most of the Spanish over the City Watch, I've been in contact for quite a lot. Actually, Elizabeth Carter, you know, the pregnancy surrogate character that I used for the year where I couldn't come.
Yeah.
That was a character that was in the background of the City Watch. So she's somehow linked to Trevor in a way that we still have to bring out to the light.
Okay.
So I have a lot of contacts with them.
And she's gone. We will be right back.
There was a glitch. So
Yes.
I'm just repeating it, and then you can see if you cut it. So the thing about the Madrid travel. So about 4 years ago, or about until 4 years ago, so basically until I dropped out for the first time, I had almost every other month to travel to Madrid for business. So it was pretty convenient to see the whole Spanish crowd. So I've seen them like all over the year for quite often. So that's why. So I have a really good experience with them. Also, I do try when it's possible to translate for people because 90% of my workday is English. So it's for me, it's really, I don't care if I speak English or German on that. And I don't mind LARPing in English, so I'm trying to translate. Sometimes I forget because it's also difficult to get into a scene and then still play the translator. But yeah, so I really like that they're there. We've also tried in the archive, which is something that's a bit dying due to lack of time on my part, to translate some of the history, dragon lore things, and to have them available in English. They actually are. Not the latest ones, but quite a lot of stuff, because I realized that there are some people that are really keen on that play and that are really keen on also learning the backgrounds. And for them it's incredibly difficult because unfortunately the lore part on Drachenfest is still all in German, because I think some of the people organizing it just don't feel comfortable with the English, which for me is sad. So I would like to see more things translated there, to be honest.
Now, I mean, I sort of, I can only agree with you, because I remember this one situation. It must have been around 2017, maybe 2018. I think it was 2018, because I think we just won the battle, and it was pretty certain that the Blue Camp had won the event, the Drachenfest. And I was just sitting somewhere with some people, including quite a few girls from the Spanish group, and they sort of said, yeah, Timotheus, can you tell us, why do we fight here? And I sort of said, well, we fought here today because we wanted to win. Yeah, no, but why do we fight here? And it took me ages until I sort of understood the context. Why do we fight as Blue Camp followers at the Drachenfest? Why the Drachenfest at all? And I was like, what? You mean you've been coming here for years?
Yes.
Dedicating yourself, fighting, tooth and soul. And you don't even know why.
That's dedication for you.
That's dedication and everything. And so I explained as best as I could and everything, which I know will be factually here and there wrong, because having had discussions with some people, I mean, my original route, you said earlier on you're an original nerd. I am technically, my roots are, I studied history and everything because I had no bloody idea what I wanted to do. And the thing I do professionally has absolutely nothing to do with history, but it was a good way of just, spending some time thinking about what you wanted to do. And it's just, if you study history, you realize, the way events unfold and how people perceive it is always very different. And so to say, well, this and this happened, yes, but this source says that it happened like this and that, and actually this and that, I always find it very interesting to see, it happened one way, but there's 10 versions about how it happened. And some of these versions are even intermingled and intermashed and everything. So I gave them the best explanation of how I thought the whole events happened, and they found it interesting. But I was just saying, Jesus Christ, I mean, how long is that bus ride that they do twice within a very short time, coming up, coming back down? And then like, oh yeah, why are we actually here? Why do we fight for the blue dragon? And what exactly?
I know that a couple of years back, Zagar from the Ankh-Morpork City Watch, so Trevin the Magician, made actually exactly that sort of explanation, history lessons on Dragonland lore, which I think was very well received. I may have to prod him to do that again, because I think that was a really, really good thing to do. And it helped a lot. It also helps a lot explaining, and it also... I think it would have helped in some irritations that we had in the actual role play between foreign groups and German groups, where I think foreign groups weren't quite aware where they were landing. It was just this is something even that the Spanish told me. It's like, okay, we're Spanish, we're going to the blue. Yeah, this is like, yeah, but no, but not the point. You would probably be having more fun elsewhere, but it's yeah, probably just a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy at that point in time. But I agree with you. It would be a lot better if there were a lot of more chances to include them, and also for that play. It's a bit of a shame. I've been in the days when I've had more time. I've been wondering if I'm offering myself to the organizations just to translate a few of the scripts that they're having in advance, so that I don't know, in the Den of Forbidden Knowledge or somewhere, there would also be English stuff to be found, because I know that the people that are writing those by and large don't feel comfortable translating. But at the moment it's just not manageable. I would like
the
to,
workload would be huge.
I would like to do it, but there's just one of me, and yeah, at the moment, at the moment, I mean, I've done a lot more in the past about camp construction, everything. We were there both, but at the moment, I consider being present a success, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely one of the people where I would not feel entitled to say you could do a bit more.
Well, at the moment, yes. At the moment, yes, but not like on my personal workload scheme. That's probably not working.
No, because there's some people who, altogether, I think it's thankfully a small number of people who I think they come and take advantage of the lot of work that other people do, but a lot of people try to contribute, to pick up the slack here and there, or just, we've got this project that they involve themselves and everything. And then there's people like you who seem to be doing everything everywhere, or at least, before you had your minions.
Yeah, and they're still a bit too small to come to Dragonfest for me, at least, because then I couldn't do my running around Miramele thing, so...
I'm sort of just having this awful vision, what happens if they are very much in line with your character, and they're just running around and they're organizing and saying, Jesus, we all said we wanted 3 of them, and now we do.
At least
I'm
the little
scared.
one. At least the little one is like that.
Okay. So we will wait with bated breath about things to come.
Yeah. That's. I mean, that's the good thing about having a husband that doesn't LARP, which has been something where I've been quite often told, okay, but I mean, isn't this really shitty? No, it's not, because right now that is clear that I go to Drachenfest. There's no need to. There's no need for the debate.
Okay. Good. Then I have my set of questions here, which I asked, and it used to be very standards, but I changed it up a little bit because I thought I'm always asking the same question, so I need to update it a little bit. So I've got a couple of new questions. One is, what is your view on the other camps? And you can answer in character as well as just your personal view. And
I think I prefer actually the in character view, apart from probably adding a personal note that I really appreciate what Copper and Chaos are doing, because they are change, actually, not Chaos.
Change, yeah.
It's gonna take a while, and it's gonna take longer for Miramele. But anyways, I really appreciate what they're doing, because they're not playing easy roles. Being the antagonist is never easy, and I think both of them are doing it by and large in an absolutely fantastic way. So this is something that probably is the personal note. And apart from that, I think OT, I appreciate all the camps and the work that's being put into this, and any other OT comment would probably be unfair, because you never see the whole story, and it's very colored also by my IT experiences, obviously. So Miramele started out as being very gray and blue, because the idea was to really have somebody who also transfers knowledge into the camp, and who gathers knowledge, and who's informed and stuff. And I like, or Miramele likes, but I'm gonna probably stick to the IN, meaning Miramele, from now on for that discussion. I like the way that I like just the fact that there is somebody dedicating themselves to the knowledge, and that there is somebody who's trying to take the wise position, and who's trying to also not only gather the knowledge, because Black does that too, but also do the wise and quite often the right thing with respect to that. And that is how I see Grey, and which is why I appreciate them always very much. Though in the last years, just by the way events unfolded, I've also come to appreciate Silver quite a lot, which sounds strange, because they don't like elves so much, or some of them don't. But I think they're pretty divided in between a fraction that is very righteous, but also very self-righteous, and very much set in their ways of what can be and cannot be. And then there is another fraction that I do think is silver blue, the major's part of them, and they are very much trying to do the right thing because it's right, and not trying to do the right thing because somebody told you so. Which is something I can appreciate. I'm pretty, to be honest, pretty terrified of the red. You never know what happens with them. You go there. I mean, I do have friends there. I have friends almost everywhere, I think, except for Black and Copper, maybe. But it's just really scary, because everything blows out of proportions with them. They get angry on nothing, and then there's a lot of screaming and a lot of blood, and all of this cult around the blood. I know the Voodoos do that too, but it makes me feel uncomfortable somehow. They are important for the circle. They all are. Apparently, even changes, which is something that gives me a hard time accepting, but apparently it's that way. And we have to accept it and understand it. But I don't understand them, I think. I don't really understand them.
Mm.
I think one has to be
Right.
very cautious with the black because they know a lot, but they always have an agenda, and I never understand it. It's. I don't understand what drives them,
Mm.
why they do the things they do, even if they don't really make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, that they're difficult to grasp. Except that every time I go in there, I'm quite sure I will be betrayed, and it's going to come out in a way that I didn't intend it to. Yeah. Who else have we got? The white ones. They're weird. They claim to hate people like me, and they're also part of those that try to do the right thing because they were told it was right and because they have a
Mm.
book that says it was right, which makes me immediately asking who wrote the book. And then
Mm.
they come with a deity, but I mean, if we consider deities are like dragons, they all have their own agenda, so that's a bit. You shouldn't follow the book per se. But anyways, they claim to hate me, but I've always been received very friendly there. And like when I try to do something with them, that usually works out. So
Mm.
I'm not quite sure if they're following their own dogma. I don't know. But and they're of course way too close to copper. Speaking
Yes.
yeah, speaking of copper, I understand why they're there. It it took a long time understanding why they're there because I don't understand how anybody would want to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just being told and being so tightly bound
Mm.
and just knowing what you're gonna do the day before you die, basically. This is, for me, this is scary, but I've come to understand over time that there are some people who are scared by not knowing these things
Mm.
and who take pride in filling their place.
Mm.
And I understand that, I understand today that doing this out of your own free will and out of your own free
Mm.
decision is also blue.
Mm.
And if you have seen it all, and if you take that choice by your own will, saying, I know there is another way, but this is the way I choose.
Mm.
And I somehow have to accept that. I can always try to talk them out of it, but I somehow also have to accept that this is the decision they made,
Mm.
even if I will never understand it. And even if I will never agree with it or
Mm.
think it's good, but
Yeah.
either you are for a free decision or you're not. You can't
Mm.
do it by half measures.
Mm. No, I find that very interesting, especially what you said in the beginning about the grey camp. You can appreciate, the seeking of wisdom and sort of trying to sort of to take a decision based on the best information, as it were, the wisest decision, because that's where I sort of again realize and appreciate how different our characters are, because you're, very stable, very methodical, researched decision-making process. With my character, he does stuff. And just this last weekend, I was at an event, and I all of a sudden caught myself up in a project so stupid, so ridiculous.
And that's Timotheus.
And the thing was, I turned to one of my friends during the weekend and I said, I'm scared this will work. And it did.
I am not surprised because I've been there for other stories like those.
Mm.
But it's interesting that you perceive Miramele as being the one who does the well-researched decision.
Mm.
Because actually, at the end of the day, I think what she does is she researches and researches, and in the end, she
Mm.
goes with her gut.
Mm.
And I think there's one thing that's really ingrained deeply in her
Mm.
soul, which is try not to be cruel. And
Okay.
that is what she always ends up. And this is also the problem with both green and chaos, obviously, because they can be cruel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like, if you don't care that you're cruel, then you're just not a good person. Period. Yeah. I mean, you can be you can be stupid. You can make mistakes, and she's always gonna try to explain to herself, which is one of the other things about Miramele. She's always gonna try to explain to herself that actually people had good intentions and it just went horribly wrong at some point in time. But
Yeah.
sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just and then this is really a deal breaker. But in the end, I think she's a lot less well researched, because in the end she's a lot driven by emotions and by compassion, and by just, you can get a lot from her if you get her compassion, even if it's not clever.
Okay, yeah, but you said gut instinct, but
Yeah.
even the gut instinct is sort of like the brain has the information, but it can't process, at least not the conscious part, but the subconscious part is that actually here, and that's why the gut instinct is sometimes very important, because it has actually processed the things and has seen a pattern that you are not obviously aware. So even a gut instinct is based on research and everything. And as you,
Yeah.
so yeah, but no, it's interesting. I mean, that sort of, you could take our characters, because they are in some ways they are very similar, and in other ways completely different. And sort of, if you were to say, well, yeah, this dirty pirate and this, I don't know, is your character actually noble or just an elf?
It's a very complex question. Actually,
Yes,
I would not like to go into too deeply. I don't think she considers herself noble. I think that's the best answer I'm prepared to give in front of that audience.
Okay. Well, this very complex elf and this very uncomplex pirate, and somehow they work together, and they actually like each other, and it's interesting, and that's something which I think it is possible in other camps, but it's a lot easier in the blue camp, because sort of this, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the points about Miramele is she loves people. Like and it's just she's also pretty condescending. I mean, you're all great people. You of course are completely misguided, and you don't know shit, and you need guidance, and you need advice. Yeah, so she has that sort of arrogance within her, but it's sort of benevolent. Not that it makes anything better. Yeah, but I think she thinks you're well intentioned. I think you're like the paragon of, okay, he really means well, and sometimes it ends up completely crappy, but he meant well, and that's what counts. And for her, that's really what counts. Yeah. So if you manage something good with really bad intentions, that doesn't make it okay. While if something went horribly wrong while you had the best intentions, after she's mad and has thought about it for a while, she'll probably always say, yeah, but that was okay because it was best intentions after all.
Okay.
Which is why you guys get away in her books with quite a lot of shit.
War stets bemüht.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, then we've got one or two more questions, and by that stage then we're also towards the end of the interview, where you have the opportunity to ask me some questions. Just a reminder for yourself and for the audience, as it were, that you will be able to ask me anything, and I will answer almost anything. But before we get to that, I mean, I know you've had a lot of interactions and situations, of course, with the blue avatar, but have you had any sort of memorable situations with a different avatar?
Actually, Miramele tries to stay away from the other avatars.
Okay.
There's a reason for that, which I don't think is something I should say here.
Okay.
But she tries not to speak to other avatars if she can help it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had kind interactions with the grey avatar, which mostly consisted in me trying to give her information, and the answer was always I know. But since for various reasons I'm trying to avoid that, I don't have so much actually
Okay.
memorable experiences. Miramele has no hesitancy talking to the blue avatar. She would, for the reason that she's not talking to the others, have no problem talking to the copper. But that's other reasons, obviously. And change also would also not be a problem, and white. I've actually had nice interactions with white avatar, but nothing that's worth telling. But with the others, I am trying to avoid it, actually pretty openly.
Okay. That I find very interesting, because I thought like you'd be on sort of, as it were, personal name terms with the avatars, because you just go, but okay.
I always speak to the camp leaders, I speak to the diplomats, I speak to the mages. I know people everywhere, but I try to avoid having direct interactions with the avatar.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I think apart from the golden avatar, the white avatar, and the avatar of change, I've had interactions with pretty much all of the avatars. I mean, sometimes, in a sort of biggish way, and sometimes, just it was a short conversation. I just remember once there was a battle happening, and I was standing on our ramparts, and I just looked out and I saw the red avatar was standing there watching his camp attack a different camp. And I just thought, well, this is an opportunity. So I just got up, went up to them, took my cup, filled it up with water, walked up to the red avatar and just said, "Excuse me, red avatar, may the blue camp offer the red dragon some water?" And he took my mug, he drained it, and he looked at all of his followers and said, "Well, it's nice to know that at least the blue camp takes care of me."
Yeah, well done. Well done. That's also a pretty blue thing to do.
Yeah.
It's random. It is. It shows zero respect for rank or anything. So that's a very blue thing to do. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. But it was just that was sort of the one, and that was with the old red dragon. And it's just, I really enjoyed it. Just he took it, he sort of didn't acknowledge and say thank you. He just took it, drained it, handed it back, gave me a nod, and then just looked at his people and let rip. And I sort of like, yeah, my work's done here, I better go.
Yeah. Had a couple of fun interactions with the red harp, so with Koirina, one of which actually consisted of me camping in front of the red camp doors because I was invited. Okay. That was in the day when I still had time to actually play music and basically get myself hired to play music. And that was actually also the year where I didn't manage to get into many camps, including my own. And I was camped in front of the red camp, because I actually was invited to play at the diplomats' dinner, which was supposed to be happening in Red Camp. And they wouldn't let me in because I was a dubious elf and accounted for nothing. And Miramele is not clever in these situations, I also have to say, because she's just not the sort of person that tries to talk you. She's kind of helpless with that. She's like, okay, but why would they say no? Yeah, she doesn't even get it, really. So, she doesn't get why people wouldn't take her word. Why they would think she would be lying. Why would she? It wouldn't even cross her mind to lie. Yeah. So, but in the end, I camped there for like 20 minutes, and then the red harp came along and asked me what I was doing there, because she knows Miramele. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm waiting to be let in. Why are you outside? Yeah, I'm supposed to be playing for the diplomats' dinner. And then all of the Red Guard didn't have all of that much fun, because there was quite a screaming match involved, and then I just went in. But like I said, it probably figures with the rest, because that was the time that they even only let me into Blue Camp, because, and now wait for it, because I was accompanied by somebody from Grey Camp who had a pirate hat.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I
nice.
have a lot of experience in not being acknowledged to be blue because I don't have a pirate hat.
Yeah. One moment. Your picture's frozen. Ah, you're back. Yeah. Now,
Another blip?
a little blip.
Yeah.
But now, I always like it. I always enjoy it when we've got young blood at the gate of the blue camp who don't know the faces. I always like it. I may not pretend to like it in character, but I love it if somebody says, "Who are you? Do you even belong to us?" And I sort of say, "Ah."
Yes. That is true. I mean, I also enjoy it. Don't worry. Yeah. So this is, it's, and that was also during the day when I think right now there are a lot more people that know me than in the day because I was under the radar. I think for the first 4 or 5 years. I also remember I came back into the blue camp at a time where we didn't have an even real gate, and Timotheo said, "Oh, there's somebody from silver," and I'm like, "No," and I'm, "Okay, where are you from then?" "I'm from blue." "Are you sure?" "Pretty much." So, I have a history of running under the radar, and then at some point in time it tipped. But I think that's also because of the OT organization that I did in the day. So then, kind of people know your face,
Fairly
and they
possible,
know
yes.
they know to place you. But I also remember the nice panic on the guards' faces, where that was actually one of my experiences in La where I felt most epic. Yeah, I was in Silver Camp on personal business, and if I go there to see a certain amount of people, they always make sure I come back home safely. So I'm always escorted. Yeah. So sometimes it's the guard of the silver avatar. Or I've had fun escorts in the years, but that was probably the best one because you probably know the Italian Templars around Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
And they escorted me all the way up to Blue Camp in a group because they were on their way to the city. And they were all in their black garbs, and I was wearing my white ritual dress. And they were singing chorals while they were bringing me up. And I think I've never felt as epic as they just brought me up there. And our gate was pretty much in panic because, of course, this was a very weird scenery to arrive at night. Yeah, so that was pretty much fun.
Now, I had one situation once again, also with the Red Camp. That was the year when sort of the metal alliance was there, you know, copper, silver, gold.
Yeah.
And there was this big alliance against them, and all the army commanders were to meet in the Red Camp. And all the army commanders of the counter alliance were there, except for the army commander of the Blue Camp. And they were waiting for him, and they were waiting for him, and they were waiting for him. And then all of a sudden, a guard appears and says, "Yeah, we've got this dirty hobo standing in front of the gate. He claims to be the blue army commander. Do we beat him up or do we let him in?" And apparently by that stage I was quite well known, so they said, "Yeah, no, it's Timotheus. Let him in."
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've actually had several experiences with you that way, that they were like, "Okay, where's your army commander?" "It's that guy." "That guy?" Yeah.
Yes.
It is something I have come to accept as one of the human peculiarities of the blue. That apparently people don't care about what they look like. I have come to accept that this is just the way, and it's probably a human thing I will never understand.
Yeah, well, the thing is, as I said last weekend, I was at an event where I played the character Timotheus, and this shirt. This is Timotheus' best shirt. It's not the cleanest. It's not the most.
You have a clean shirt?
Yeah. He's got clean shirts and everything.
I've never seen you in one.
Yes, because This is his best shirt, and when he wears his best shirt, the best things happen. And you know that absolutely stupid, ridiculous plot that I told you. While I was wearing this, it worked. And then I thought, well, I'll put on a clean shirt because there's something happening later on. So I put on the clean shirt. 2 hours later, I stood next to a cannon that exploded and embedded a couple of large splinters in my body. You see the correlation.
No. I can completely respect that. Respect that.
Yeah. And that's why he wears this shirt, because whenever he wears this, the best stuff happens. Whenever he doesn't wear it, shite happens.
Yeah, I can. But has shite never happened? Okay, but I mean, this is self-fulfilling prophecy thing, anyways. But yes, of course, it's it's a good thing.
Yes,
I can appreciate that. I think probably even Mia would buy that.
Yeah.
She would probably cook up a weird explanation as to how it's a shirt of the southern wind or something.
Yes. But now I sometimes, or I might do it again, just this is my best shirt, and then I just pull out another shirt. I mean, this is a clean shirt, but that's no good. And just throw it away.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That is. Well, I think she would buy that explanation actually from you. It makes a lot of sense. It's the sort of thing she would understand. It's weird enough that this sort of rationale makes complete sense in her way of understanding how the word works. Yeah, so.
Okay.
That's one of the most fun things about actually playing Miramele, to bring yourself in this very weird headspace where the word is completely different. It's like it just has no correlation with reality whatsoever. So what she's seeing in the people around her and in the situations around her is quite often so distorted from what she's thinking should be or how she's interpreting it, that it adds up for all sorts of funny misinterpretations.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's sort of one of the things that we as players like about these characters. We can just approach things from a completely different angle than we might normally do. Like with me, I so often look at things and I say, well, that's a stupid idea. That's for me then. That's what I'm going to be doing. And it's just it's just things that in real life you wouldn't look at or sort of agree to. I mean, I wouldn't do half the stuff that Timotheus does. Sort of. I'd be dead if I did.
Yes, so is Timotheus occasionally, just for the record. But yes, true. But I've had, unfortunately, I haven't been playing her for a while. But I had an apprentice of the House Nirakis from Red Camp that I played on ZTL for a couple of years back, and also on other events. I actually pretty much enjoyed her. It's just that I enjoy Miramele so much that I don't play her. And she always did the first thing that occurred to her, and that was also incredibly funny, because she just when she wanted to scream, she screamed. When she wanted to hug somebody, she did. When she wanted to run away, she did. When she wanted to run into the battle, she did. It was just first impulse. That's what I'm gonna do. So it's a bit the same thing, and I can respect how enjoyable that is, because you just shut off your brain and you just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly satisfying when after a while people say, yeah, he does dumb stuff, but he's successful at it. Sort of like say, it's just no question, it's dumb, but it works. Don't ask how. It just works.
Yeah, that's the same thing as like I realized at some point in time that apparently there's an industry going on in Blue Camp that's trying to keep me from realizing how the real world is. Yeah, I don't know what Picaro is doing there, and I don't want to know. Yeah, but apparently there's a lot of shit going on explicitly behind my back and explicitly in my camp that I never know about. And I dread the day that I do find out, because that's going to be interesting play. But I never planned that, but it just happens, and then you gain a reputation that way.
Yes.
Just quite a lot of fun.
Excellent.
I miss it. I miss it. Well, time for Rachelfest.
Soon.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll see if I still manage a new dress or not.
Yes.
I am optimistic.
but this is actually quite a nice segue to the next question, which
Okay.
is, what are your personal sort of ambitions for this coming Drachenfest? What are the things that you say, oh, I always enjoy going there, talking to these people, or going there, eating something there? Or, what are the things that sort of like on your bucket list where you say, oh, I need to do these things?
Well, as always, I have on my bucket list that I actually managed to finish a course at the Magic Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works, usually due to the benevolence of the teachers cutting me some slack in attendance rules. Other than that, I don't really make plans.
Mm-hmm.
I did that before, where I still had the ambition to go a bit into the direction of legend weavers, this sort
Mm-hmm.
of. But at some point in time, I just realized that it fits better with a character if I just go with the flow, and I'm having more fun with it if I'm just going
Mm-hmm.
there and let myself being surprised. I expect to be running around a lot, so this is how I usually find things. I just go visit people I know, and then stuff happens, and
Okay.
then you get the information. And I'm looking so much forward to seeing all the people from Blue Camp, but also from the others. I haven't seen any of them almost in the last 3 years, and I miss
Mm.
them desperately. Yeah, so
Yeah.
OT, clearly, I want to see all of you guys and give you a hug. um, IT, I really don't know. I'm hoping to have a bit more time this time for things I usually neglect because it's longer. So like
Mm.
play in the camp, play also with the archive, for example. I've
Mm.
even been wondering if this could be a good year to try my hand in diplomacy because everybody's always thinking I'm a diplomat. I might as well try
Try
it
it out
once.
once. Yeah.
I might as well try it. Although there's always this scheduling issue and me never being there, so I need to figure out if I'm doing this, I need to figure out a way how I do this, still being able to play my character without OT jeopardizing people's efforts, because
Mm.
that is also of course a thing, yeah, because everybody's
Yeah.
frustrated if you don't find the person. Um, that would also not be good, which is why I
Mm.
usually shy away from any official positions because it's just really hard to manage with the way I play her.
Mm.
Yeah, so if I don't know, had something official about the mages, or would say, okay, I don't know, I take this or that post, it wouldn't work with the way the character's working. Yeah, because either I break character or she just gets distracted by the next thing that comes along, yeah, and then it's just, yeah.
Mm.
She's got all the good intentions, but then the next win comes her way, and it's like, oh, what am I doing next? So
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
really
No.
have any big plans.
Okay. Well, that then nothing can go wrong. You can't be disappointed if you
Exactly.
don't have. Yeah. But as you said, the next wind comes along. That's also a nice segue to the next question, which is a very important question. What is your prophecy for the coming weather on Drachenfest?
Ever the optimist, I'm going to be saying it's going to be quite a lot of sun.
Mm-hmm.
Judging from last year, I'm hoping it's not going to be all of laser sun.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say it's going to be quite good. After 3 years of break, we need that.
Mm.
It's going to be good LARPing weather.
Yes. I mean, especially as you said, when it's longer, even if it's sort of hotter than we would really like, we would have then more mornings and more evenings where the temperatures are still all right. So we would hopefully still have more gameplay. And
Yeah. I mean, I personally am not so much affected by it, but I don't wear armor and I'm not so susceptible to the heat. I mean, I even remember the year when I was pregnant and very pregnant, but I felt okay. It was dry heat, that's fine. I didn't mind. Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as I took care and drunk enough, that was completely fine. Yeah, so I'm not so much affected by it as long as it's dry.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm worried because we've had all kinds of different extremes of weather, and I always bring the things that like from the year of Schlamageddon, just
Oh my
Wellington
God.
boots. We need boots. So I bring them with me every year in case it happens. And of course, since then it never has happened. So I'm saying,
bring them, please, bring them.
Yeah, no. I am going to bring them so that can't happen. But I'm sort of saying, well, eventually we're going to have weather for which I haven't got any stuff. So I'm contemplating to bring my skiing equipment, because
that's a
before
good idea.
we end up with snow.
That's
I mean,
a good point.
on the one hand, it would be great because all the defensive structures, we could just build them out of snow, and the battles would be huge fun because it would be just a big snowball fight and everything. But I think it's better if there is no snow at the Drachenfest.
I think so too.
Yes.
I'm still recovering from Schlamageddon. That was quite a year to be camp construction lead.
Yes.
That was. I consider myself pretty stress resistant, but that was tough.
Yes, it was. It was a tough year.
And I remember that actually the Spanish ones really saved my life on that one, Dagar, Laura, and Aru, because I remember we came back from saving Copper Camp. I don't know, everybody who was there during remembers that at some point in time Copper Camp would have almost flooded, and that so we went there, and then when we came back, I just saw the rain coming down, and then I heard over the radio, because I always have the radio because Suit doesn't want to have it. And I heard that there's a storm warning coming on, and this was just like, I just felt my brain blink, and I was like, okay, oh fuck, what I'm gonna do? And then the Spanish just dragged me into their tent and gave me a glass of warm mid and said, okay, you're drinking this, and you're not leaving before you've drank this. And then I kind of went out restored and ready to take on whatever shit is gonna happen next. But I don't need that anymore. I mean, honestly, at work, I'm used to panic and crises, but that was something different because it was kind of existential.
Yeah. That was, it was definitely a tough year. And while looking back at it, you remember some of the good times, the bond that developed in the team, that was very good. Or, small things like, we improvised Wellington boots by putting on a normal pair of socks that was dry, then a plastic bag over the foot, and then a wet pair of socks, and that prevented the dry pair of socks of becoming wet, and that worked.
It actually did.
And that's just that marvelous bit of improvisation. But I mean, how often in that year, and I mean, pretty much the building team every year has that quote just saying, why do we do this?
Yeah, I know.
Why are we still doing this? And I think that year it fell a little bit more often than other years.
But honestly, if I could justify it in front of myself to be away for full 2 weeks, I'd do it all over again. I really would. Well, and I remember you actually sitting there, and I was like trying to make sure everybody's okay, and I came up to you saying, okay, are you all right? And you're like, I'm wet, I'm tired, I'm annoyed, I'm hungry. When can I sign up for next year? And I'm like, okay, he's still okay.
Yeah, well, but that was the thing. It was altogether a shit situation, but because the team was sticking together like that, and I said, I don't like this situation, but I want to be with this team again next year.
Exactly. Exactly. So, guys, just a bit of advertisement. If you still find the time, join the Builders. It's really great fun. I would if I didn't have a 1 and 3 year old who will already struggle having their mother away for 9 days, and probably 2 weeks is a bit too much.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy doing it, and I would, if I find the time, I'm going to do it all over again, just because it's great fun, it's great people, and you just see the whole thing growing, and then you put it all back again, and you basically arrive with a clean slate, and then you just walk through the camp during the game, and it's like, okay, there was nothing a couple of days ago. It was just a hill. And now it's this incredible city, which is one of the things that really brings me to Drachenfest. Is really, that during normal days it's just a hill where there's cows and sheep and just nothing, And then there's this whole city, there's this whole world that is rising out of the grass, and that's just great. That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. Now, and I mean, as I said, it's just, working with that team and just getting to know them for those couple of days during setting up and taking down. That is just an absolute highlight. Like, you
Yeah.
won't find better people on the Drachenfest or in the Blue Camp than the people who set it all up. I mean,
You're gonna
I'm a
make me
bit
cry that I can't come.
I'm going to say, I know I'm a bit biased because I'm part of that team, but I personally find the other people to be really great people and everything. And so I really enjoy just being with them. And I mean, it's just so often that you sort of say, Jesus, why the fuck do we do this? But then you see the structures actually taking shape, and then you are already there and set up when the first people come. And it's always great because, it's all friends that you see and you get to hug them and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of the saddest part for me is always, when you're on the other side, the people start packing up and they start to leave, and it all comes down. I mean, you get to set it up next year again, and it's going to happen again. But still, it's always sad to just see all of this stuff just disappear and everything. But then towards the end, it's all gone. You're glad that you've completed this sort of Herculean task. At least it feels like that.
Yeah.
And then you're standing there with these people, with these amazing people who just, for a week built a camp, and then just as quickly took it down again and stored it up again, and you're sort of laughing, joking, the jokes that make the rounds in that year. You say goodbye and you just look forward to next year seeing them all again. So it's always a very special time, I find, to be with those people, and I'm looking forward to being with them very soon, and sometime hopefully again with Uta's Miramele as well.
Hopefully. Well,
Yes.
I'll be there for Drachenfest, but I will come only on Saturday, I'm
yes.
afraid.
That's no problem. So, that's the pleasant part of the interview over. Now to
And
the
now-
unpleasant.
Now I have to think of questions.
Yes.
I came completely prepared for this. Like, I've given the matter all of 2 minutes of thought.
Excellent.
And I'm usually the sort of person that doesn't ask questions, but rather implies stuff and sees if people volunteer, which makes this completely fish in the water experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go with
away.
I'm gonna go with something easy.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this? This interview stuff.
Okay, this interview stuff. It's just we were reaching the point where we knew, okay, Drachenfest is coming soon. It's approaching. It's no longer. We had years where we were saying maybe next year. It was a question mark because we didn't know with the pandemic and everything. So maybe next year. And now we know it's happening this year, and we were getting closer. And I thought, well, it's a little bit, like in Germany with the Christmas calendars. Every day until Christmas, you get to open one of the wee doors in December, and then there's a bit of chocolate. There's a little treat, and then you get closer and closer, and then it's finally there. So I don't know what I'm doing sort of for the 24th door, what I can do there. But I thought, well, it might be just, on the one hand, just something to keep you going. A lot of people have told me, well, there's been some people who have not complained, but they said, these things are too long. They're over an hour long. People have the attention span of 5 minutes. You can't talk for an hour and expect people to pay attention. I said, well, then just listen to it in parts, Start it and then keep on going until you've listened to the whole thing if you enjoy it. And other people say, yeah, I really like it because I can have it on my phone, or when I'm doing the laundry or something. It's just something there, and you listen, and it's familiar voices, and some of the stories or the views expressed are like, oh, that's interesting, that's new, yeah, I knew that about that person. But it's just something small and interesting, and I thought that would be a nice thing for other people. Originally, it was also meant or intended, people say, well, what questions do you want to ask Ute? What questions do you want to ask Miramele? And people would write to me. But that concept very quickly disappeared. So in the end, I said, well, then I'm just going to ask them the questions that I want to know. Like, why do you do stuff? And
because I can.
Yes. And so it has... The original intent has changed, and I mean, I sometimes sort of see the amount of people who watch the videos where I say, okay, I'm not doing this to become rich or famous. It is because I enjoy doing it myself. I like spending time with people and talking about this event that we go to, and so I'm happy if other people have a benefit and can draw inspiration or just learn something. That's great. But in the end, it's completely selfish reasons, because I like the people and I want to spend time with them and I want to talk to them and I want to ask inappropriate questions.
You didn't ask any inappropriate ones to me. I'm almost disappointed.
Yet.
Oh, okay. So they're coming at the very end, the inappropriate ones. Okay, I get that.
Yes.
Nice, yeah. So in the essence, because you can, right?
Because I can. Because I can, I want to, and I know if I just merely suggest it on Facebook or some other platform, it wouldn't happen. I sort of said, I had a lab group once where they had a very good rule to discourage people from displaying initiative, which was, if you said, what we really need is this, they said, excellent, you're in charge of that now.
That's how it works at my work, actually.
Yeah.
Every time I come up with a brilliant idea how to improve things, it's like, okay, arrange it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I sort of thought, I mean, I like it altogether because it's very easy to just say, well, why don't we have that? Why don't we have that? Okay, well, spend some time thinking about it and work out all the means of doing it. And for me, I thought, okay, well, this format is actually quite easy. I ask some questions. We have a bit of a dialogue. We talk about stuff. And the stuff that I did years ago, that was a lot of work, a lot of cutting, editing, making it work, adjusting it. And this, I just put it into... I pretty much load this up straight away on YouTube, and it's done. It's 5 minutes work, the editing, and then half an hour to let it all load, and that is still so it's very little work for me altogether. The longest part really is doing the interview itself, which is also the most fun part.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah.
Yes.
No, thanks for doing that. I mean, I really enjoyed that up to now, and it's not so easy to find the time where I say, okay, I want to do this just because for the same reasons as you, just because it's fun.
Yep. Yes.
And it brings you in the mood of Drachenfest also, because I think also after 3 years we're all having mixed feelings. We're looking at it, looking forward to it on the one side. On the other side, we also have to remember why it was so much fun, because we all haven't done it in a while. Well, some of you now have with the other events, which I was very jealous about. Next year, maybe. Next year.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so another one that's more in-gamey. Were you actually okay with being named Tiefenpriester?
Yeah, so Tiefenpriester, for those who don't know the word, is it's low priest, as it were. You know, there's priest and a high priest and everything. And the reason I'm okay with being the low priest is because it was my idea.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay,
no, it was my idea, because I thought, well, they already made me a priest. I've got to do something before they make me a fucking high priest. So I said, well, yeah, if I'm going to be a priest, then only a low priest.
Am I allowed to use that as a title? Because Miramele will be very serious about that.
Find out.
I will.
Yeah.
You never know with these human conventions when you overstep. I'm still kind of figuring that out, because sometimes people are being very serious about titles, and sometimes they're a joke, and I have a really hard time telling which is which.
Yeah, no, well, let's put it this way. Before we knew that the whole pandemic and everything was going to happen, 2019, I was there Saturday evening after the battle and everything. And, the camp was just celebrating and everything. And then I had a talk with the Avatar and Libertania, and they convinced me, come on, you should do this. And
I actually think they're right, just for the record.
Yeah, well, the thing is sort of like the looking at it out time at it, I thought, oh, this is a really interesting concept gaming wise, and there's lots of things. I immediately pretty much had ideas what I could do and stuff. I said, yeah, this will be great, but I also sort of realized, well, yeah, but it's absolutely not in the nature of the character and the natural nature of the character. And I said, well, are you serious? This guy here, a priest and everything, you want to make this a priest and everything? And they said, yes. And I mean, left and right, I felt like, devil and devil.
That's the way of the avatars, I'm afraid.
No. But so in the end, I sort of agreed because, as I said, out time, I realized, yes, I should do this, or I should agree to this. But I thought, well, I've got to sort of like a little tantrum, small child tantrum threat. I said, okay, well, I'll do this, but I will make you regret it. You will wish I never been made priest.
Yes, well, this is the way. But no, I think it is a great thing, actually, because I think this whole priesty thing, which is not a priesty thing in Blue Camp at all, after all, draws primarily one sort of players. And I don't think that's good. Yeah, I think we should have the whole variety of blue morons in there. It shouldn't be. I know that some people have said this is like the silver blue part or the moral blue part. They're gaining so much ground in the discourse and everything. But I don't even want that. I mean, I'm probably the queen of that discourse, but this is because the character is that way, and it's no fun. She should be the utmost end of the spectrum. Like, here is the spectrum of blue between good and evil, and I should be like there. Yeah, really on the edge. I shouldn't be the measure for anything. That character should be. I should despair on a daily basis of you. This is at least the idea behind it. So this is why I do think that it's really, especially characters that are not immediately priestly, but active and trying to do things and sort of grasp what the blue philosophy is per se, even if they don't like to debate about it. That would do it a lot of good. It's a bit the same thing with Tuco Ramirez, who is also, I think, a wonderfully blue character. Of course, Miramele doesn't trust him one little bit. But of course, such a character should be an anchor. Yeah, and I should hate his guts, but that's a different story.
Different story, yes.
No, that's. I think that's good, and I would even like for more people that way.
Well, we will soon find out what is gonna happen. I mean, I sort of have plans and planned no plans where I said, well, I want to sort of these small things I want to do, and then I sort of, in some cases, deliberately don't want to do anything and just see what happens, because my best experiences LARPing was always stuff that just generated itself natural. Other things that were planned were good, but the best stuff literally just happened spontaneous in the situation where I sort of said, yeah, this is good. Well, I sort of in the beginning, I can sort of feel this is going to be potentially really good. And so far, I've never had a thing where I've planned and made preparations for something. They worked out well sometimes, but the really great ones, they just happened. And
I agree.
So that I'm planning to let just great shit happen. And we will see what that will be like.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I don't really think I'm the kind to ask inappropriate questions, so...
Feel free.
I'm just wondering what else I can ask. what's your favorite prevention method to keep your voice?
My favorite prevention method.
Because from where I'm sitting, it's not working. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple of things that I do. One of them is drinking warm or hot water and nothing else. No tea, no honey, just warm water. That allows the throat to sort of relax. And otherwise, I always have a big collection of sweets and cough drops in my mouth just to keep the mouth moisturized, so that the saliva production is happening. And otherwise, I mean, I had 1 year where I very early, I think on the first or the second day, I lost my voice, and that was annoying. But otherwise, my voice tends to survive for quite a long while, and the moment where I know it's giving up its the fight is when we go down to the end ritual. That's the moment where I tend to lose my voice and everything.
That's nice.
And I just remember once, I thought, oh, this is great. My voice is keep going, and then for free, and like this, just mid shout, it just gave up and said, "That's it, no more for you." And otherwise, what I tend to do quite a lot is I tend to practice, or to train my voice a bit when I'm in the car. The weeks and months leading up to Drachenfest. So if you were driving past me, or you had a camera installed in my car, you would be witness to some maybe quite strange happenings where just I shout stuff very loud, and sometimes I just drive and I sort of comment on everything that I see and that's happening, switching gears, waiting at the red light, and just shouting and different stuff, just to train the voice and everything, and sort of to find, well, if I sort of shout at this pitch or something, I can do it no problem. If I exceed this, it actually goes onto the voice cords and everything. So just training a little bit, as it were. Those are the things I tend to do.
Cool.
Yes.
And my last one is your favorite blues song.
My favorite blues song. I think just all together, the sort of a classic is just Aussatz. I really I sang it over the weekend again, and my I sang it with Rochus, so he's the kind of guy who is able to give you goosebumps on sunburn.
Yep.
Which is very difficult, but he managed to do it. And I think that is just an old classic.
Wear sunscreen, people. It's important.
Yes. But that is an old classic. And otherwise, sometimes when there's a new song which is really sort of catchy, which also seems to unite the camp, the whole camp knows that song. It is always an experience, I find, when just literally have 700 people, 700 voices sing that song and everything. I mean, a song which I thought was potentially, I thought, oh, this is great. What was it? All the fighters of the blue always remember you're not alone and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that had great potential, but then I liked the original version of that it's based on. From Les Miserables, so I might have been a bit biased there, but if it captures the spirit of the blue camp and everything, like Old Chariot the last few years has been one of those songs, then I like it. And otherwise, there's a couple of other songs which I like, which sort of have almost nothing to do with the blue camp or seafaring, anything like that, but where I say it's a good song. And mainly I prefer songs that are funny and everything, but a couple of songs which are very melancholy and tragic, they're good as well. And yeah, but I think Aussatz is probably it's how the certain companies will have the greatest top 10 of all time, and it's always different songs, but there's a couple which are always in it, and Aussatz will be one of that just on a regular basis. It might be number 3 in one year, and then number 5 another year, and then number 1 the following year, but it's always somewhere up there, I think, and that's probably the reason why I love it so much as well. Yeah,
it's the Frei und Unbeugsam thing that is just
Yes.
also very, very catchy.
yes,
Um,
yes,
Yeah, it's true. I think the problem about the Fighters of the Blue was that when this whole thing was tried to implement, this is actually pretty hard to sing.
mm,
As it needs quite a vocal range, actually, which is something that is always hard to make it singable for great crowds. You don't realize it when you hear it in the musical because it's all people
Yeah.
who can sing, actually. Yeah, but
yes, that's their bread and butter.
but sort of if you take the old Chariot or Sturmzieht auf as a comparison, they have a pretty narrow range. Yeah, in the way of the the vocal of the notes that you need. While Les Miserables, I mean, that's a musical that's written for professionals. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think there's just for many people it's not so easy to sing, and it's also, which is not quite unimportant, not so easy to find a range that is comfortable for people to sing, for guys to sing, comfortable for women to sing, and has reasonable chords on the guitar.
Yes, and also, that you can still sort of sing towards the end of the event when your voice is no longer in top performance.
Yeah. I mean, that's so. Looking back, I think that was an experiment doomed to fail because of the it's a great song, but it's not a singable song for great crowds that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, quite possible. Yeah, I mean, I think, as you said, these songs that we just named, they have just parts where even if you don't know the whole song or so, but you can join in, and it doesn't even matter if you can carry a tune in a bucket, as long as you can shout it.
Exactly.
You can participate in everything,
and that gives totally doesn't work with Fighters of the Blue. There you actually have to hold the tone. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a nice song.
It is a wonderful song. I mean, I still sing it occasionally when I have it, and when I'm around with people like Lorinda and Kela and the Picaros and the people from the archive, like people who do sing quite a lot and who have also experience in singing more complicated songs. So I still like it, but I agree I think that this was unfortunately doomed to fail in hindsight, but hindsight's 2020, you know how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Okay, well then, for today we are finished. You now have the opportunity to maybe send out some greetings to people, and then hopefully very soon we will actually see each other again in person.
Yes, hopefully. I'm missing all of you desperately. I'm not naming anybody because I'm going to leave somebody out, but I hope you all come. I'm missing you guys desperately. And if any of you has the time, sign up for construction camp, because I feel desperately sorry that the places are not yet full. It's only 4 weeks to the event, and it's just great fun. And I miss all of you desperately. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you because, I mean, just... How do I put this diplomatically?
Finally, normal people.
Yes, that as well, but just the amount of bullshit that I managed to construct in a relatively short amount of time, and that I can tell you about. I just want to see the reactions of people when they say, he did what?
Timo just did what? Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic. I remember.
Yeah, so
that's usually me after somebody tells me what you've done.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about those stories, maybe here and there, seeing them and creating some new ones where you just say, all right, Fair enough. I guess that's on you, priest.
Yeah. I'm gonna be embarrassed out of my skin, and I'm gonna be confused out of my skin. So I'm looking forward to being confused by everybody because you do stuff that I will never understand
Excellent.
because
Very good.
you have a very weird way of looking at things. But it's gonna be fun.
It's all down to perception. That's all it is. That's all.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
know. It's the story about the one guy who drives on the wrong side of the road instead of the 100 ones that are coming.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that analysis. Yeah, but to all of you out there, I'm missing you terribly. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. Stay safe, stay healthy,
Don't
and
get
hopefully
COVID.
we'll no, and hopefully we will see each other very soon. And if we don't see each other this year at Drachenfest, then hopefully at other events or at Drachenfest very soon in the near future. See you then. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
We were headed home from the port of Taipei. Hadn't had a clue what stood in our way. The wind was good and the skies were clear. Couldn't see a thing that we should fear. The clouds rolled in, wind snapped the sails. Captain says, boys, we're headed for a gale. So we battened down rig and felt the strain. And the boatswain howled through the driving rain. There's a storm blowing side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm. We're gonna ride it out to the other side. The thunder roared and the lightning flashed. The ocean rolled and the cold waves crashed. We pointed our nose right towards that squall. And over it all we heard the boatswain's call. There's a storm blowing side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm. Then it all stopped just as it began, and a cheer went up from each boy and man. The captain says, no, this is just the ice. There is much worse coming on the other side. There's a storm blowing side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm, no place to hide. We're gonna ride it out to the other side. Said and rolled back in again. We were battling the rain and the hail and wind. We knew the ship couldn't take much more. And once again we heard the boatswain's roar. There's a storm blowing side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm, no place to hide. We're gonna ride it out to the other side. The storm raged on, and we battled it back to the next dawn. When we saw the sun, we knew we were clear, and we all hoped never again to hear. There's a storm blowing side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm, no place to hide. We're gonna ride it out to the other side. There's a storm side to side. There's a storm 6 miles wide. There's a storm.